A key component of the modern world economy, the chemical industry delivers products and innovations to enhance everyday life. It is also an industry in transformation, where chemical executives and workers are delivering growth and industry-changing advancements while responding to pressures from investors, regulators, and public opinion. Discover how leading companies are approaching these challenges here on The Chemical Show. Join Victoria Meyer, president of Progressio Global and host of The Chemical Show, as she speaks with executives across the industry and learns how they are leading their companies to grow, transform, and push industry boundaries on all frontiers. Here's your host, Victoria Meyer.
Hi, I'm Victoria Meyer. Welcome to The Chemical Show. As you guys maybe know, The Chemical Show is now a top 5% podcast globally, so that's really awesome. Keep listening, sharing, liking, following, etc. So you might notice, if you're watching this on YouTube, that we are in a different setting. So I'm actually doing this live today with my two guests in a studio in Fort Worth, where I'm here for the SOCMA show. So today I am meeting with people that you've already heard on the show. So we've got Michael Suver, who is EVP. Mike is EVP of Specialty Chemicals for Integrity Biochem. And I've got Cameron Whaley. Cameron is CEO of SCT. So delighted to have both of these guys here, and we're going to have a great conversation. So, hey guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. And this is kind of fun. So I have been podcasting for a year via Zoom. And in fact, I was actually looking, I think, Mike, our first time that we talked for the podcast was about 11 months ago. So time flies.
Lots has changed, too.
Lots has changed.
Yeah. It's been a long year. It's been a really long year.
2021 was long, and 2022 is going really fast.
Yes.
Really, really fast. So awesome. So let's just jump into this. SOCMA. So this is my first time actually being here at SOCMA at the Specialty Chemical Show, and it's been really interesting. And it's a whole different universe of people and companies than I typically have done business with, certainly different than the Shells and Clarions where I worked before. So Cameron, I know that SCT has been a member of SOCMA for a long time. Can you just talk about SOCMA and the show and what it's all about?
I'll do the best I can. SCT became a supplier affiliate with SOCMA a number of years ago. SOCMA, their big meeting used to be called an Infomex. And, it was usually in New Orleans or in Florida, kind of bounced around between the two. And then this show in Fort Worth, SOCMA purchased from Tom Leahy, the Specialty Chem and Agro show.
Okay.
So this is the first year that SOCMA has taken over the Specialty Chem show. So this is brand new, and the attendance has been phenomenal. I mean, there's like over 850 people here. It's been really good. So it's a conference.
To get together live, right?
Yeah, it's been really good just to see everyone in person, seeing people in 3D rather than Zoom.
Right.
But so it's a conference. There's talks in multiple rooms, industry experts, there's panels, but then there's also a trade show booth, an exhibitor booth, where a lot of chemical manufacturers in North America and from across the globe get to have a presence and display new things.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is SOCMA being, I'm probably going to get it wrong, but it's a Society of Chemical Manufacturers and Associates, which is really custom manufacturing. So this is, it's kind of a new world for me. Talking to people at the conference, business has been good. Right. So everybody's saying business is good. So how has 2021 and 2022 played out for you guys? Maybe let's just start with Mike.
Well, for Integrity Biochem, it's been a change. We've gone through and are going through kind of a transformation from being a pure play energy producer to more of a specialty chemical company. So it has been change. If I had to have one word, it would be change. But it's a good thing for us, and we're growing by leaps and bounds. It's a fun organization to be a part of.
Awesome. I imagine with oil at $100 a barrel, it's not so bad to be anchored in energy at the moment.
Correct.
But obviously, you're here with a company to help expand its footprint and presence. Yeah. How about for you, Cameron?
Well, for us, we have a presence in oil and gas and energy. This is a really targeted approach for us. The majority of our business is in personal care and home care.
Yeah. And that's been a good market.
It's been a great market. I mean, it has its challenges, just like any market does right now. But the growth has been good for SCT. Energy is expanding rapidly. The growth and the amount of production in oil and gas going on right now. It's, it all has its challenges with supply chain, providing the surfactants that we offer.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, one of the things as I've walked around the show and talked to folks, everybody says that there are a lot of people coming to them for tolling, custom blending, et cetera. Demand is strong. So the question I really have is like, what's driving that? I mean, is this the current rising interest rates and inflationary period that we're in? Is it limited investment elsewhere, or do you guys see something else?
I mean, you can take that one over first.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, it's the supply chain. There's a variety of things that we can point to that's causing this.
Yeah.
But folks are looking to buy closer to home.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's really...
that's interesting. So it's really helped domestic manufacturers.
Absolutely it has.
You can have capacity. You can have all the product in the world. Again, it goes to logistics and transportation also. If you don't have a good transportation partner, if you don't have your internal logistics right, it doesn't matter what you have. You can't get it to the customer.
Yeah.
It really is a completely different ballgame right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I remember from our conversation previously, you guys actually do some of your own logistics.
We do. Riva Transport is a subsidiary of ours, and it's been it was our biggest liability, and at times it can be your best asset.
Awesome. That's
and
really
it's not
cool.
going to change
no
in the foreseeable future.
The supply chain and transport,
Correct.
Is it through the end of the year? Is it beyond that?
I think it's at least through the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, I know right now with the conflict in Russia and the Ukraine, it's put global supply chains under stress again. I don't think we know where it's going at the time that we're recording this, but it's going to have an influence.
And for the U.S. energy market, I mean, it's really putting a spotlight on, okay, we have this available product.
Capacity.
And capacity.
Is there.
We're already the world's largest producer.
Yeah.
We need to take care of others.
Yeah,
also.
well, and there's been some, and I attended an event last week, and there was a speaker talking about kind of just what's driving some of the energy and stuff. And what's interesting is a lot of it's being really driven by, the lack of development in continued drilling and production in the U.S. is driven by capital discipline. A lot of it's an influence from investors and this shift towards really, sustainability and wanting to limit how much carbon production there is and stuff. And so I think we're in an interesting tipping point and pivot point at the moment.
Well, the beauty of the chemical industry right now is the push for sustainable products that are available and scalable.
Yeah.
And that is happening in real time.
Absolutely. So that is a great segue because you guys have been working together now for a while, right?
Yes.
So you've been collaborating on some biosurfactants. I know that, IBC is developing and working on with you. So can you talk about that?
Sure. As we spoke a few minutes ago, and we talked at our first podcast, IBC is pivoting to more of a specialty chemical company. Oil fields are always going to be important to IBC, but we want to maximize our technology in other markets.
Yeah.
And we had developed purely for the oil fields a biopolymer some 5 years ago, and it became apparent that this biopolymer was extremely versatile and was very compatible and had some unique characteristics that led us down the path to start making bio-based surfactants.
Got it.
And when I came on board and we started talking about these products and what they did and what we could do, if it wasn't my first phone call, it was probably my second, and it was to Cameron and his folks to say, hey, let's sit down and let's talk about this technology and what we can do together.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so that was 2 years ago. IBC, Mike and Jimmy brought us this plant-based, bio-based product, and they basically said, hey, we think it can do this. Can you show us what it really, really can do? And so we gave it to our R&D team in New Jersey, and I don't know, it was 6 months worth of work in-house, really putting it through paces in formulation, seeing what it's compatible with, where its strengths are, where its weaknesses are. And we gathered back together and basically sat down with IBC and said, hey, I think we really have something here. We really have something unique. It has really interesting properties in personal care formulation. So it became, okay, here's the data. Where do we go from, where do we take this?
Awesome.
What do we do with it?
And it sounds like you guys, fast forward to today, you guys are ready to take it onto the market, right? So you've got your regulatory approvals 100%. And you've gone through, because there's a lot of work to get a product to market, to commercialized, right?
Correct.
How about give us just some of the inkling behind, what does it take to get that product commercialized?
It's
Mike, you look like you're bracing for it.
Yeah, it has been an eye-opener for me for sure. And we really have two sets of surfactants. We have an industrial line of surfactants called TegraSurf, which we are launching, getting all the regulatory approval and whatnot. We use all of our bio-based surfactants go into all of our energy fluids.
Got it.
We're no longer using any synthetic surfactants at all.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so our customers love it. It checks their box and it works really well.
Right.
But moving and pivoting over to our personal care line, Eden Surf, it had been a challenge because it was a new molecule.
Yeah.
And so going through the INCI certification was a challenge for us. It was new to IBC, but something that Cameron and his team helped with us. Yeah. And to be honest with you, would we have liked to have launched this 6-7 months ago? Yes, but the reality is we've learned so much about this molecule, what it does, what it can do, all the attributes that we thought it could do, but then it bore out over our collaboration. So I think it's going to work out in the end.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've seen with the maltodextrin laurate backbone of Eden Surf, we immediately put it into formulations in bath care, some skin care. What we saw replacing current surfactants with the Eden Surf 1200 was, sometimes with some of the plant-based products that you see now, number one, they're not effective in viscosity building. They're not effective in foaming, and they leave you get a tacky residue. It's just kind of, it's like,
I'm laughing because I have this skincare product I'm using that's in my travel bag, it's here with me in Fort Worth. And I actually hate this stuff, and I probably need to flip it over and see what it's made of because it doesn't foam. Yeah. It's tacky.
But you feel so good about it because it's 100% plant and it smells great.
It smells really pretty. So that's a good thing.
That was the challenge. How do we get this new molecule to not be that? And when we first put it in formulation, we saw that it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like nothing we had ever seen.
Yeah.
And then we started doing formulation work with it and then performance work with it, actual analytics and performance studies, and the low dermal irritation numbers we have not seen. It's the lowest we've seen in formulation yet. Right. Viscosity builds that we haven't seen in formulation. So it was, okay, hey, we love this. Let's get this to market as soon as we possibly can. But, going through, you have to be slow and steady.
Well, and especially
there's a lot of stability work
that is in personal care that's touching people's skin.
Correct. A lot of stability
and has a lot of FDA an FDA influence. Maybe does it have an EPA influence? I guess but it's mostly
not necessarily
FDA.
For personal care. But FDA and you have to. There's a lot of boxes you have to check.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. At Ecovist, they're accelerating the transition to a sustainability-driven future. Their long history of innovation, expertise, and customer collaboration supports the development of proprietary catalysts and services across their two industry-leading businesses, Advanced Materials and Catalysts and Eco Services. Advanced Materials and Catalysts is a leader in proprietary and customized technologies for polymers, cleaner fuels, emissions control, and circularity. Eco Services is the largest North American recycler of spent sulfuric acid. Ecovist, your catalyst for positive change.
So how do you bring customers on board? I mean, you guys are excited about it. You've got the skills and the resources to kind of figure this out. And yet, it doesn't do you any good if you've developed it and nobody wants it. So how do you validate this in the market? How do you get customers interested and engaged in buying a new molecule when it's going to take some reformulation work?
Some, but there's a tailwind out there with sustainability, ESG, and all the buzzwords and the new thinking of not only these small formulators, but big conglomerates are all talking about this. They have staffs of sustainability now where 3, 4, 5 years ago it was talked about, but it wasn't a whole lot of action. So we have a tailwind here. And look, there's been bio-based solvents back years ago that was going to be the next coalescent agent or something of that nature that really never took off. So there's going to be skepticism. And part of our job together is to get, Dextera is their line of products out, out to the customer base. But we feel pretty confident not only in the results we've seen over the last, 14 months or so, but we've got some folks that are formulating with it and running it through its tests. And so far, so good.
Yeah. So how we came about, it's really been an amazing collaboration between IBC and SCT. To get, I think in any venture you start out with, number one, you have to have trust. That's number one. That was immediate between our two companies, was a level of trust. You have to have like-minded values. And my leadership team and the leadership team with Mike and Jimmy and his group, it's a like value company.
Right.
So it's easy to go down that path. So we took the Eden Surf, put it into formulated, basically, the Eden Surf 1200 enhanced some of the surfactant performance concentrates that we already had.
Got it.
And so it was a very easy marriage putting those in. And so out of that was born the Dextera performance line.
Awesome. So you're ready to go to market with this.
We are.
We are. Cool. And I think you should tell her how you came up with Dextera.
With the name? Yeah, tell me about it. The naming is interesting, right?
Naming is always tough. So we were at a meeting with Mike and I and our groups, and it was the whole purpose of this meeting was to kind of lay out our strategy. Not only we had the development work started. Right. So it's okay. We've got a pathway. So we laid out a pathway. We laid out a timeline for success and completion. So I was tasked with a 3.5-hour drive back home from Jimmy Jett of, okay, we need another name.
Versus, what was the prior name?
It's Eden Surf.
Okay. But as you blend it into
as we make
different
it
products,
a performing solution,
got it.
That needs a name.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Great. Thanks, Jimmy. I'll work on that.
Yeah.
So 3.5 hours in the car, just racking my brain. I'm like, okay, what's the molecule? All right, it's maltodextrin. It's a polysaccharide. It comes from, a sugar-based renewable carbon. Okay, well, that, and I don't know, I saw some road sign that said Terra something. Dextera.
Road signs are a good source of inspiration.
Then I immediately Googled. Then I called and I go, I think this is a drug. Somebody Google this for me. I think it's a drug. And Dextera was not a drug.
Good. So, that's really good.
It's really, really funny that the timing of this, because I just got an email before we came over here. So our trademark is fully 100% registered.
Congratulations.
As of today.
That's exciting. So, good news. Kudos.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Let me go back to what he was talking about, the trust and the shared values.
This is all about partnership,
that's
right?
a stop, in my opinion, if you don't have those first. But one of the things that really became very clear, at least in my mind, was that we were going to take each other's strengths and really, really marry them together. And we each have some really good core competencies that can enhance the others. I don't really like to use the term win-win, but it really is. We're adding value, core value to both companies, by this partnership. And that's really what drives us.
Yeah. Well, and I do think that's important. The whole aspect of partnership, because at the end of the day, it's hard to find the right business partner, right? Yes. Well, and so you really have to get very clear about what's important to you in terms of what do you need a partner to bring, how you match that up. Trust in some ways is almost table stakes because you're not going to do business with somebody you don't trust.
Right.
But you have to have the right kind of trust to build on and then match your capabilities and maybe your market elements and other aspects, right?
Well, I think part of the beauty instantly was we come from a market that is foreign to IBC.
Yeah.
The manufacturing of Eden Surf and the molecule is foreign to us. So we just put those two strengths together and
we went from there.
And we all have a very entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Yes, you do.
That's a nice way to say it.
Yeah, it is. It really
good.
is. Yeah.
That is good.
It's perfect.
So what's next for you guys? So obviously you're ready to go to market with Dextera. You're ready to go to market with Eden Surf. Mm-hmm. One, is the market ready for you?
They better be.
You think so? Yeah? Okay. Awesome.
And remember, one of the most important aspects of Eden Surf, which is extremely important to Cameron and his team, and then ultimately his customers and our customers, is that it's sustainable, it's scalable. Mm-hmm. We can make a lot of our products, which is a little unique in the bio world today.
Right. And I think we talked about that before, but because you're right, because that's it's been historically been a challenge is bio-based materials. It's awesome. But if you think about some of the biggest producers, let's say, of personal care products, which might be somebody like a P&G or, pick your major consumer products company, they need a lot of product. So scalability is critical.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and also, in our early discussions, one of the main key points that IBC brought to us about the molecule was even though it is domestically sourced.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful.
Yeah.
We don't have shipping concerns, overseas shipping concerns. And number two, the molecule is completely non-detrimental to the current food supply.
Correct. It was an overlooked food source.
I mean, that was huge for all of us.
That's interesting.
Because, we have this great molecule, this great renewable carbon, but if it damages a current food source or food supply, that doesn't work.
So can you talk about this? What's the feedstock or the raw material?
Well, it's a polysaccharide.
Okay.
So it's a sugar derived from a food source that's domestically available, not only here, but globally, and it's a large domestic product.
Got it. There's a sufficient amount of it that your impact is not impacting that
not
overall
at all.
Food source.
Yeah,
awesome.
not at all. Absolutely.
Cool.
There was a lot of discussions, before we all started down this path.
Yeah. Awesome.
A lot of work.
I bet your teams are excited.
They are. They're very excited.
Very cool. So what is next for you guys? So you're launching. So what's coming up next? So I know that this cannot be one and done.
It surely won't be.
No.
It surely won't be.
Well, for SCT, our big, official product launch will be at NYSCC in May. In May. So you'll see Dexterra stuff everywhere and a lot of information. We're going to be pushing the product prior to that, of course.
Yeah.
But, it'll be time for our customers and people in our industry to kind of finally take a look, see, touch, feel the product.
Makes sense. Makes sense. How about for you, Mike?
We're going to continue to launch new surfactants into the marketplace, 4 or 5 new for personal care industry. We've launched 10 or so biosurfactants for the industrial side, energy, ag. We'll continue to seek out relationships that I'm not sure we'll have one quite as close as we do with Cameron and SCT, but we'll continue to work that angle.
Work through partners.
Sure. We're an R&D company. We want to stay true to that as we continue to develop and take this biopolymer to new places and new heights.
Awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Well, good. Well, I am so glad we got to meet up in person.
That's great.
It's been, the first time in 2 years that I've, sat in a room, it seems like, with
this is a great
people
space.
for a meeting. And
You're going to have to relocate to Fort Worth.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to go that far, but, I might find some future studio space to be, to have some of these live conversations some more. So this is really cool.
Well, your show, you do a really good job. And I know I'll speak on behalf of Cameron and I. We're pretty honored that you asked us to come back on.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited that you agreed.
Time.
Yeah. There's a repeat.
And I was going to say, are we going to start doing it the 3-peats and the 4-peats, like I guess the basketball teams
That's
do?
right.
But we'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You guys keep doing new things, and we'll have new things to talk about.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for joining the Chemical Show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for listening. Keep listening, liking, following, sharing, and growing our listenership. We appreciate that. Cheers.
We've come to the end of today's podcast. We hope you enjoyed your time with us and want to learn more. Simply visit thechemicalshow.com for additional information and helpful resources. Join us again next time here on The Chemical Show with Victoria Meyer.